Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Oh, yeah. Here I be. July 11. It's a Tuesday. That means it's a Suze day. Hi, Suze.
Good morning.
Good morning. I just realized July 11. We're just closing in on your birthday.
Yep.
Yeah. They keep on coming.
They keep on coming. They keep on coming. So that's fun.
Okay.
Well, you know, I continue to be the youngest one in our family, but I'm beginning to be the oldest one among my friends. So.
Yeah. It's weird, I guess, to be the baby, but be, old. Yeah. I don't know. I have nothing. Listen, I ended the show yesterday, just heading off on some unexpected rant. I mean, unexpected to me, about the future of humanity, namely that it was...
There wasn't one?
Yeah, exactly. And I can't get it out of my head. I want to apologize to the audience if I left people with such a dire
with the same feeling that you had.
Yeah, but the thing is I think it's fascinating that I feel absolutely certain that I'm right, but it's the kind of reality that nobody wants to deal with and think about, because what can we do?
It's like the whole world is a person that thinks they have cancer and won't go to the doctor to find out to begin treatment. Nobody doesn't know what's happening. You're either lying to yourself about it or you're watching in dismay, but nobody doesn't know what's happening. And we also know the time is ticking to do something about it for literally our grandchildren. I mean, it's not their grandchildren, it's our grandchildren.
Well, it's interesting because I think you're thinking mostly about about what climate.
I'm thinking about the world and that the world might kill us before we manage to kill ourselves.
Well, I think we kill ourselves through artificial intelligence.
You think Hal is coming to get us? He might.
Oh no, I have no doubt. I mean, I really have no doubt that we have unleashed something we cannot stop. It's too late. It's already too late. And all you have to do is start listening or reading what the people at the forefront of this are saying.
Yeah, they're screaming, stop.
They're scared shitless. And they know they can't stop it. There's nothing that can stop it. They've unleashed a force that ultimately, I'm sorry, will look at us as in the way. Yeah. I mean, humans, who needs them? Yep. And there was a letter. Let me find it. There was a letter in the New York Times today that made me start thinking about this again. Some woman, here she is, under the headline is AI a real threat? Margaret McGurr of Greenwich writes this. Although experts warn us of the risk of extinction, there are few, if any, specifics on what those dire circumstances will look like. Is there to be a collapse of the human will as chatbots run roughshod over us? Now, see, she's stuck at this moment. We're not at the point here. It ain't going to be chat boxes. I mean, we are turning over our lives to this technology, to the machines. And the machines are getting smarter by the second, and we aren't. And she says, there is vast territory and capacity in the human brain that we still don't understand, much about how the organ works that we have yet to discern. Where reside, for example, affection, conscience, instinct, courage, a love for beauty, the seat of our very soul? Yet we are asked to believe that an artificially intelligent being whose mind we have designed to mimic that small portion of our minds that we have managed to figure out will somehow be able to outwit us. See, she's in total denial. Why do you think all those things, those human things that we value so much, are going to save us? They're an impediment. They're an impediment if we're up against soulless intelligence. They're an impediment.
All right. Well, I don't know. I'm just going to hang up now and go kill myself.
Okay. But why is it that people are unwilling? Well, I understand.
It's too overwhelming.
It's too overwhelming. And we can't quite imagine how it happens, but there's no way it's not going to happen. You know, sci-fi writers have been proven right about almost everything, right? Every crazy science fiction thing has come true. And this will come true as well. Humanity, literally a flash in the pan. We are too. I was talking about this Google CEO actually said something about us having to have humility as we approached this new era, the most extraordinary era in human history. He mentioned a few. He said fire, when man found fire and the ability to control it. So there was like fire and else it would be this or that. This next thing that will upend everything is so huge that, our puny little brains can't get around it. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with it, but I actually have been for a long time. And I'm really fascinated by people's reluctance to acknowledge it. I think it's fascinating. And yet here we live, Susan, in a time in which, a good percentage of our country men and women have decided to opt out of reality for other reasons and totally embrace,
fantasy,
falsehoods and lies and fantasy because they find it more comforting. So, or
as Tommy Tuberville will say, white nationalism is open to definition. I mean, it depends.
I call them Americans. Isn't that what he said? White
something like that.
Those are Americans. I think he said something like that. Yeah. So there is so much going on now that in terms of dealing with stuff like the climate stuff is just astonishing. The speed with which things are changing. We've been warned again. We were warned for decades.
And now Vermont is under 10 inches of water, the whole place. I mean, the whole state.
My God. Yeah. So I just think it's interesting that there is, and I guess understandably, an unwillingness to deal with reality. What I keep wondering is why people keep having children. Oh, Clarence has come in. Okay, good. Maybe he can pull us off this dark and thing I've started here. Hello.
Hello. I'm here to make
Hello.
it darker, actually.
Yeah, I knew you were going to do this.
I'm sorry.
No, what prompted me to call when you were talking about soulless machines, taking over, and I'm like, well, we're just soulless machines made out of meat. And then as I'm on hold, you're talking about people, doing things to escape reality. I'm sitting there thinking, and exactly what is religion?
Well, that is
people have been doing that kind of stuff forever. The fact that you said soulless machines, as if we have souls. Now, I was just having this conversation with a woman on Facebook talking about how that we're just a speck living on a planet that's a speck, in a solar system that's a speck, in a galaxy that's a speck, in a universe that might be a speck in a multiverse. We're not all that important. Then I said, but the good thing is that our brains, our consciousness, is capable of giving our lives meaning. The illusion of meaning, the illusion of purpose. But in the large scheme of things, we're nothing.
Yeah, and it might be, Clarence, it might be that it's our unconsciousness that gives us our purpose, and that actually is propelling us. Our conscious might be doing only what our unconscious is motivating us to do.
Right. Because somebody said, what is the meaning or the purpose of life? And I said, now if you just take the word life itself, the purpose of life is to continue. That's it.
Yes, that's right. It's to live. That is right. That is it.
That's
pretty
it.
Simple.
Yeah, and
to continue. Yeah, procreate and to.
It's just to keep going. And all of our conscious things that we come up with, love, art, beauty, all that stuff. It's just I don't know. It's something to help us to continue, for life to continue.
Yeah, but you don't want to. But some of that stuff. I mean, you don't want to say art, music, love, in such an offhand. I mean, those are all wondrous things.
Yes, it's wondrous to us, to our brains. To our brains. That's it. Yeah. They're just there.
Not our brains, because have you ever seen?
No, animals love music. Yeah, animals love music.
To their brains, we'll say to the mammalian brain, as far as we know.
I had a dog that would center himself directly in the middle of the two speakers in the living room for the best sound quality.
Yeah.
The dog I got from your sister, Susan, used to love the SpongeBob thing. Scene. I saw on some SpongeBob, and he'd start howling to it. He loved that thing.
Well, look, so we're never going to... But it is depressing for us to acknowledge our nothingness in that regard. And I mean, I think it's why as a child I was so terrified to look at the sky at night, because I realized how it made me see how small and inconsequential I was. I felt so small. My mother would be saying, look at the aurora borealis or something. And I'd be just thinking, oh my God.
That's pretty good. I don't know how I can say it, because I always describe myself as nothing. I say, I'm nothing. I'm not. People are like, oh, don't put yourself down like that. I said, no. You understand. From nothing, from nothing, all things are possible.
Well, that is true too.
Yeah. From nothing,
what is that
all
like
things
saying? If you're, what is that like saying? If you're down, there's nowhere to go but up. Is that the same kind of thing?
No, I think because it's just my way of talking about the concept of zero. You know what my
with my
email. Okay. Yeah, the concept of zero without nothing. you need nothing to make all things. Without there's everything.
Right.
So but anyway, the Matrix. We could be living in the Matrix right now. Everything could be an illusion. We're just batteries. Huh?
Well, that's true too. But I was thinking people, the early adopters who grab every smart technology, who live in smart houses, they don't realize that they are putting themselves in an environment that will turn on them. I say we should all become like Ted Kaczynski and head into the woods.
Well, I basically live in the woods, but my woods is just my brain, just sitting there contemplating everything to come up with stupid things like, from nothing, everything's possible.
Okay.
So around philosophy, the woods could be even in your brain, that'd be just, you got I call it the third eye. Anyway, whatever.
All right. So glad to get making me look like a Pollyanna optimist. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye. Oh, man. And you know what? We did that whole thing without a bad clearance pun.
I know.
That's pretty amazing. So, okay, I'll get...
He's going to call back now. Okay.
Oh, no, okay. Oh, God. Hey, here's something weird I saw in the week. South Koreans all got 1 year younger this week. Everybody in South Korea dropped a year from their age by law. Isn't that something?
Well, it just sounds stupid to me. Why didn't they write the law that everybody could be the age they were?
Well, no, because the way they're calculating age is different than any other place on Earth. And they decided to get in line with the universal standard that when you're born, it takes 12 months to get to 1 year. Right. Okay. The way they've been doing it is when you're born, you're one. So, and that had been the traditional Korean system for forever. So you're one at birth.
Oh, God, clearance has to come back because their concept of nothingness is wrong.
And listen, to add to it, after that, a year is added on, not on your birthday, but on every January 1. So if you're born on December 31st, you'd be 1. And then on January, the next day, you'd be 2. I kid you not.
Now they're 2 years off.
Now they're 2 years off. So that's right. So they say that, a baby born in December would be 2 years old by January. And the president of South Korea finally, he had campaigned on abolishing this old system, saying it created unnecessary economic costs and led to legal disputes over, how.
Whether you're old enough to go to school or too young to go to school or what,
Right. So anyway, they're finally, Korea just got on board, just like everybody else. So some Koreans are now 2 years younger than they were, and some are 1. And I wonder if they even know where the birth date is. I don't know. It didn't mean anything if it wasn't considered a anniversary of something. How odd. Anyway,
my guess is there would be plenty of women in labor that would remember what date it was.
Yeah, but in labor, do you remember things like numbers? I don't remember dates ever.
No, honestly, the only thing I remember from either of my 2 pregnancies was that the first one was easy and the second one they told me to shut up.
That's funny. Yeah. Hey, requiem for our species.
Oh, great. I was in a good mood. I had a good night's sleep. I slept until a reasonable hour this morning, really.
The worse it gets, the more we retreat into fantasy. The law will solve it. The marketplace will solve it. Technology will solve it. We'll adapt. Or for those who find solace in denial of a reality-based belief system, the climate crisis just doesn't exist. The Earth's always been like this. And besides, Jesus will save you. Those who warn of the looming mass extinction are dismissed as hysterics, Cassandras, pessimists. It can't be that catastrophic. Anyway, okay. We'll try to stop this. I'm sorry I was going to start the show apologizing for ending the show yesterday with this, dire, certain prediction of mine. And then all I succeeded in doing was doubling down.
Well, haven't you learned in your life that even when you go in to apologize to someone for something that happened unhappily the day before, it doesn't make anybody feel better. It makes everybody remember how awful they felt the day before.
I think our brother has a lot to say about apology. Those apologies of parents. You apologize to your sister about blah, blah. You're like, what the hell does a forced apology mean?
No, I always thought that apologies were like an unfair, forced way to end an argument before you might be ready. Oh no, you can't apologize until I'm done explaining to you why you need to. You know what I mean?
And then, right. And then apologies that end up being really nothing more than explanations of why the person was right.
I'm sorry, but you didn't have to put your shoes there.
Yeah. So there's all of that. Oh, my God. Okay, so here's something I do remember from yesterday, Susan, and I think I might have mentioned it when we were together in Green Bay. But there was a piece written. I actually have a little excerpt here. Let me find it.
What I just remembered? I'm sorry. I forgot to send you your box of forgotten things.
Oh, Susan!
I will call Sherry today and have the box of things sent. I will arrange for it to be done.
Oh, God. When I left Green Bay, I said to Susan, who was still there, I think I've got everything. I don't think I forgot anything. And I wasn't even to Pulaski, not that you know where Pulaski is. And Susan texts me, you forgot blues, this, that, and the other thing. And then later you forgot your toothbrush. You forgot, I forgot so many things. It was a joke.
Well, it's up to 4 things. Okay. And no, I'll get that taken care of today. I'm sorry. I just realized what I forgot.
Okay. You forgot that I forgot that you were supposed to. Jeez, I'll tell you. Now, what was I doing? I was looking up. Oh, yeah. This here. So this guy, don't know who he is, was writing. How did people occupy their time, their attention, without smartphones? And he went on to say, he asked a whole bunch of people who were middle-aged to think back to the good old days before smartphones and asked, what were you doing? And he got a lot of responses like, what the heck did I do? That even asked, we couldn't now imagine living without these things. And so that's my question. It wasn't that long ago. Susan, you and I spent most of our lives without these screens. And yet think of the amount of time each day we spend.
No, I live on my screen now.
I know you do, and most of us do.
Even Mother does, and Mother does too, and she's 101. So,
yeah, but so I'm saying, and they've said, I mean, people have said this hasn't really helped us. They say that these things were supposed to connect us. In fact, they disconnected us. You know, but people who are at an event often are not really at the event. They're just videoing it. You know, it's like we remove it. It comes in between actually being.
Yeah, that part I can't stand. When I used to watch all these parents theoretically watching their kids. They weren't. They were filming them. And so they never got to see their kids perform live. I will admit, I don't have a bunch of films, but I paid attention when it was happening.
Yeah, but see, most people don't now. And you see any event there is a group of people, a huge group, they all have their friggin' phones up. So what is that need to grab onto something rather than just be there? Because what are the odds that people ever look at that stuff again? The first time I saw it was when I was giving a graduation speech at a high school here. This is a million years ago. And this was before cell phones. But there were all these people who had, you know, these big, huge
video recorders,
cameras.
right?
Yeah, video recorders. And and I remember looking out and seeing that and thinking, no, just be here. Don't do that. It's only, I mean, obviously a lot worse. So instead of enjoying where we are, we're taking pictures of where we are. And a lot of that is then uploaded to show people where we were, right? Especially younger people who do that, right?
It's just to brag. Look at the restaurant that I'm in, and look what I just ordered, or look at the place where I'm staying, or look what's outside my window, or look what's it's sort of amazing.
It is sort of amazing, but think of how rapidly that became the norm. How this technology does change us. Not that I'm getting back into the horror we started with, but look at that. And I mean, that's why, you know, sociologists who watched this change in the last decade, and that's really pretty much all it's been, right? The last decade.
Yeah, well, okay. Just a little counterpoint, Lynn. Just a little counterpoint. So several months ago, you finally went through some stuff that you took out of our attic in Wisconsin, and you found some old records, and these records were from the late 30s, early 40s, late 30s, and
they were 1939.
1939.
38. That's right, 38.
And you went and had them. You put them in a form that we could all listen to them. And for the first time in my whole life ever, I heard my grandmother's voice.
Right. Yeah.
Because she died when my dad was 19, you know, so.
She died the next year. Yeah.
Yeah, well, his dad died when he was 18. She died when he was 19.
Yeah. So your point is that
my point is that they hadn't fooled around and left something for future generations. You know, I mean, theoretically, some of this stuff that has been recorded will be illustrative to future generations, should they exist, about who their family was in a way that they never would have seen. And,
but the excess.
Yes, I agree.
Is just beyond belief. And because, and I do think, again, we're not together. Someone famously said, what we are now is alone together.
Yeah. We're all sitting in rooms on our own phones. Together.
Yeah. And that is not that, tell me that that's better. It's not. No one would argue it. So, my question remains, what did people do?
They talked to each other. They watched a screen together in more recent times. They watched television. They went to movies. They did things together that were of that kind.
They read
we read books. I read 3 or 4 books a week, and I was recently just so damn proud of myself for finishing an actual book. Which is not to say that I don't read all the time.
I'll tell you another thing we were that is a terrible loss. We sat quietly with our thoughts. People can't do that.
Well,
a lot of people.
I still do that. But I spend a lot of time.
But people can't. They panic. You reach right for the. Did I hear we had a caller? Okay. Hi. Hello.
Hi, Lynn. How are you?
I am fine.
Hello, Susan. This is Bree calling from the South Hills. Recently back from Asia via the Middle East and Europe. But
Bree,
yeah.
You're back in the U.S. of A. Just for a visit,
just for a visit. Yeah, my mom's turning 90 years old.
Oh, Mazel Tov.
Yes, I'll send along the greetings. It's wonderful to be back in this developing country that you have here.
Yeah, this third world nation.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Isn't it? You must be blown away by the decrepitude of the United States.
The decline is unbelievable. It is culture shock for me. I have specific examples. This is not just I'm kind of a sociologist at heart, so I'm always observing. And there's just so much I could tell you. We'd need the hour, but I'll give you an example.
Wait. Remind us where you have been living. So what you're comparing us to.
Okay. Well, I mean, right now I'm in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. That's where I'm based. But previously I was living in Dubai, and I was living in Singapore. But I travel extensively. I've just been in Germany for a week, in Leipzig and in Dresden, the former eastern part of that country. Mm-hmm. And it's really just unbelievable coming back here. My jaw drops. I'm just flabbergasted constantly. But I give you an example.
Give us some examples.
Okay, first of all, I made the error, which I had forgotten during COVID. I hadn't traveled intercontinentally for 4 years. Now I travel extensively in Asia, but not back to here. I made the mistake of taking a cheaper flight with American Airlines. I will never do that again. I knew I had a rule in place for a reason: never fly an American airline. It's unbelievable. I recall years ago that there was this idea that the ports, I think it was in New York City, could be turned over to a Dubai company, and there was a hue and cry in our.
I remember that. Yeah.
Please, I would beseech everyone, turn over our airlines to Emirates and to Singapore Airlines. You wouldn't believe it. If you fly those airlines, you can never fly an American airline again. It's night and day, and when I got here, I arrived in Charlotte, and I desperately need Wi-Fi. I've got to check my apps to make sure my credit cards are unfrozen. I need to message people, and there's a big sign: Charlotte has free Wi-Fi here at the airport. No, they do not. Let's take a step back. We arrived an hour and a half early, but they wouldn't let us out of the plane. We sat on the tarmac because immigration didn't open until 1 p.m. That is absurd. If you land in Dubai or you land in KL or you land in Singapore, the idea that there's nobody on duty at the immigration desk, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. That the board, so we sat on the tarmac and then eventually we pull up. We're 5 minutes late. We were an hour and a half early, but we're 5 minutes late. And before we get off, they say, "Well, passengers, please be aware, 3 other international flights have arrived, and so there might be a line now at immigration." I'm thinking, I can't believe this. I just waited an hour and a half on a tarmac because immigration didn't open, and then there's 3 other flights that came in, and nobody could think, and then there's no Wi-Fi. Then. I go into a
Bree. You're going to need some tranquilizing.
Yeah, I suggest you try and get some therapy. There aren't any of those either.
It's just unbelievable.
But we have life coaches. You can try a life coach. Okay. That's the same sort of thing.
I'm going to need one because, yes, it's a slower pace here. I went and I had dinner. And I couldn't believe the price. I had 2 tacos and a fries and a drink, and it would tip. It was $35 US. That would in KL that would give me just an amazing sushi lunch or dinner with all the trimmings. I just thought it was out. Of course it's airport. I understand that, but actually the airports in KL are not that expensive. It's not that outrageous, but and then the service.
Okay, so what's the difference? Don't people get paid anything over there, and that they can keep their prices so low?
Yeah, I mean they get paid the wages for the economy, and but yeah, there's a little bit of that going on, and we can certainly discuss it. But the service here also is not with a smile. Oftentimes, oftentimes here, the people I'm dealing with, it's like I'm doing them a favor to be a patron of their establishment. And I just couldn't believe the kind of service in Malaysia and Singapore and Dubai. The service you get is just at a totally different level, just a totally different level. So yeah, it's been a culture shock. And another thing.
Wait. How long have you been here?
I've been here since Sunday night. Yeah.
You're still in shock.
I'm still in shock. Do you know at the Charlotte airport, I could only find one operable restroom, and it was flooded. It was the bathroom was flooded. I mean, I took pictures of it. I couldn't believe it. I felt like I had landed in some alternate dimension. The travelators didn't work. The majority of them, I saw 2 working travelators out of like 10. And I took photos of this.
So now you're in Pittsburgh, right?
Now I'm in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
And is it any better?
Well, a little bit, yes. I'd say our airport is. I don't understand why Charlotte gets so many flights. Remember, it used to be based here, we're Allegheny Airlines, and then eventually
Charlotte's a hub now. Yeah.
And they do not deserve it with that airport. Absolutely, they do not. Pittsburgh Airport is far better than Charlotte. Charlotte is a travesty. That international flights arrive there is an injustice to our country. If that's the first blick that you get, unbelievable. And this kind of dovetails with what you were talking about, Alone Together. That's Sherry Turkle, MIT professor, 2015, 2009, somewhere around there. She wrote a book, and then she wrote another one after that. But when I arrived in Pittsburgh, I had Wi-Fi finally, which was great. And I was able to find out that the bus from the airport to town was $2.75. So I'm waiting. I asked the guy at the 7-Eleven, can I get some change? I go out, I'm waiting, and there's a younger gentleman there. And I asked him, how much is it? He said, $2.75. I said, okay, great. That's right. That's what I read online. I've got my change. And I said, can I still buy a transfer for 25 or 50 cents? And he looked at me like I was from a space alien. He said, what's a transfer? I said, well, it's a little piece of paper they give you, and it's valid for. He said, no, I've got this app. I use this app called Transit. So I ran over. I wasn't getting Wi-Fi. I ran back over to the concourse. The bus was coming in 8 minutes, and I downloaded the app. And lo and behold, I was able to enter into my card. And I got over there just in time, and he was already boarding. He sat down. I sat behind him. I'm like, hey, guy, thanks a lot for that. I got it. And he had his headphones on. He just completely ignored me, And this is the kind of thing, if I'm in Malaysia or Dubai or Singapore or Germany, I strike up, people are a little more friendly, Here, they just don't, they think you're crazy if you want to talk to them. Why would you talk to me? And if you sit there without headphones or without a phone, if you're just alone in your thoughts, you look like a crazy person. You know?
Speaking of which, just to make, I was out to dinner last night in the city of Chicago, and we were eating outside as we do these days, and a person who was undergoing a mental health crisis came up to the table right next to us, and this scary man just started screaming at this woman. And I'm thinking, this is what happens. We're all just sitting there watching it, and I was waiting for someone to help her. Anybody.
Yeah. Nobody did?
No one. She finally got up and went away, and the restaurant comped her meal and came up and apologized to us. I was, of course, holding a bottle of water, a big glass bottle of water in my hand, and I was ready to take him out if he came near us.
Listen, I have 3 stories like that just in the last 48 hours.
Yes, I know.
I was at Wood Street Station last night, and I'm waiting for the T to take me to the South Hills. And by the way, they don't have the scanners on the T. So the guy just was like, I believe you. You bought that. It's okay. You go ahead. Because they didn't have scanners on.
Dear God. It's the honor system.
Yeah, well, and that it is in Germany too. If you can get on it, they only check like maybe once a month, but then it's €60 if you don't have a ticket. That's how they operate it there. But anyway, the guy comes next to me and he's drinking a soda. There's a guy on the opposite platform who's having a conniption fit at this. Oh, you can't drink down here. What are you doing? And he was just out of his mind. It was like I watched on the airplane over A Man Called Otto with Tom Hanks. Always love Tom Hanks. Yeah. It's very formulaic, but it was a nice sentiment. But he's, the crotchety old man who develops a warmer heart. But, that's unrealistic because if you get out of your car and yell at somebody behind you for honking, you're liable that they're going to run you over or shoot you,
That's right. So, be careful. Yeah, you'll get shot. Yeah, be careful.
Yeah, exactly. But, this guy was yelling. And then there's just, oh, my gosh. When I was taking the tea back, there were 3 young teenager individuals who were just screaming racial epithets at each other at the top of their lungs. I think they meant it comedically among their friendship, but I mean, I had my phone out. I dialed 911. I was ready to press the button if I needed to, because to me, it seemed completely out of hand. I could have, I should have recorded it, but I didn't.
Stay in your mom's basement. Just stay in your mom's basement.
It's funny you should say that because actually I am. I am, Lynn, because there's so many people coming over. I don't even have my own room. I got to stay in the basement. So any of my friends in Pittsburgh, if you've got an extra room, I could use a place for a few days.
Oh man.
But Lynn, I'm here to tell you. I'll give you more. I have so many examples from the phone, internet to the South Park. I've got to go to a picnic, and I can't find the pavilion on Google Maps. So I call the number on Facebook that says Allegheny Parks, and it gives me some other number. And the guy says, well, I don't know that. You have to talk to Parks. I'm like, well, I called the number for Allegheny Parks. It's right there on Facebook. Well, yeah, we accept their calls, but we're not the Parks. Okay, can you give me their number? No, I'm not allowed to give out that number. Okay, can you transfer me? I'll transfer you. So I get transferred to the woman, and I'm like, I'm looking for tarmac, pavilion. Can you please describe it? Well, the ice skating rink? Yes. Well, turn right, go over the bridge, and it's somewhere around that circle area. And I was like, what bridge? What direction? And why is it a secret? Why isn't it online? Why don't you have a map? I should be able to Google South Park Pavilion's map. And maybe it's there. I don't know. Maybe it's on the 5th page and I missed it. But then it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
You've been away too long.
Well, over 4 years.
if it makes you feel any better, you can get the same experience without leaving the country. You can simply leave the state that you've been living in and then step into another state and realize that you'd rather die than set foot back in the original state again. If you've moved from, say, Missouri to another state, and it's a problem. I mean, I'm really having a problem going back, and I think I just don't want to step foot in that place. So it's even within the country.
Well, I'm outside taking the garbage out today, and a guy stops, and I thought he was like maybe a neighbor or somebody wanted to say hi. He's like, "Hey, can I pave your driveway? We could do it real cheap." And I'm like, okay, my first interaction is not with a neighbor, but somebody, casing the joint, up and down the street to see who needs a new driveway. It's like they'll bring it right to you now. And
well, that's just a poor soul looking for work.
Yeah, well, I don't know. And then when he came back up, he drove very slowly, having a full
or
look.
looking to scam somebody. Yeah,
Right.
know. Who the hell knows? But so you're here, be suspicious, be afraid, be in a defensive crouch. And
Go buy a gun. What
the heck? What the heck? No. I was thinking all that, and it's like, my goodness, what has happened to this place? And, the other thing is, when you arrive in Charlotte, everything's in English and Spanish. Like, what? Like, I arrived from Germany. What about, the Germans don't speak Spanish. There were people from India on my flight. They don't speak Spanish. Somehow we think that English and Spanish makes us international. It doesn't. It's ridiculous.
No, we think everybody speaks our language because God knows we don't know how to speak any other. So no, we're used to everybody deferring to us.
Yeah.
And most Americans don't have a clue that the world has surpassed us in so many ways, especially in quality of life.
Yeah.
And that's what Americans who don't travel don't know.
You're absolutely right, Lynn. You're absolutely right. And I just, it's one thing after another, and it is a true culture shock with just
When do you get back to civilization? When are you going back to civilization?
In about, I think 9 or 10 days.
Oh, man. You better pace yourself. Just take some deep breaths.
Well, I'll give you another example. I was in T-Mobile, and I had to get unlimited, for the 8 or 10 days I'm here. And it's $50, which is outrageous. For the same service that I would get in KL, I would pay no more than $10. So it's 5 times more expensive. It's just outrageous, so can I survive?
I agree. And feel free to call back later in the week when you got your feet under you a little bit better.
Yeah. You got the bends a little bit right now, and
I would ask anyone. I mean, Lynn, have you flown in Singapore Airlines or Emirates Airlines or Qatar?
No, but I do know they're the best. I do know they're the best. The best. I have flown nothing other than American Airlines. I flew a South American airline. I flew British Air, and I flew El Al, Israeli.
Okay, British Air.
And I've done Air France. I've done Air France and British Airways. Air France's food was definitely better than anything else.
But I have not enjoyed the airlines that treat you
Please
like
take
a
one.
king.
Please take one, because you will love it. I mean, it's like a vacation in and of itself just to go in the airline, And I'll be taking you back Frankfurt to Dubai, and Dubai KL. I'll have 3 days in Dubai again. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to getting back to civilization.
Exactly right.
So does anybody live below the 150th floor in Dubai? Every time I see pictures of Dubai, I get vertigo.
Yeah, there's a lot of tall buildings, that's for sure. They love that. Yeah, I just love it there, and I mean the services there. It's just unreal. It's like for being back here, Dubai is like a science fiction movie, just in terms of gold class on the metro, and you can have anything delivered, and and there are differences too. I mean, when I landed in Europe, I couldn't get this was a year or two ago, or actually 4 years ago, I couldn't get a suit dry cleaned in a quick period of time. Whereas in Dubai, you just call them, they'll come and pick it up, dry clean it, and bring it back to you within maybe 2 hours. So Europe
all right,
was also
stop
local.
already.
Anyway.
My God,
right.
You're making us feel like we live in a third world country.
But it is good to be back in the same time zone where I could call you and say hello.
It's very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
Good to hear you. And
enjoy your family and many happy returns to your mother.
Well,
tell her to keep going.
I will. Thanks a lot. Talk to you later.
Breathe.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, my gosh. Oh, man. That was interesting.
Well, we do walk around thinking that we're totally exceptional, and we're living in a hellhole right now, with our rights being taken away right and left, and with people shooting each other right and left, and with everybody pretending like everything's fine.
No, we have no idea. It's just unbelievable.
I mean, and the Senate is now holding hearings on the Gulf tour because, that's really important.
Yeah. God help us. Well,
and Senator Johnson, you know him.
Oh, my God, please. Please. Please, please, please. So, Bree, if I'm remembering correctly, first started listening to my show when I was on WTAE radio in the 80s. And he was a journalism student, I think, at Syracuse University. And he has stayed in touch like that. I mean, it's not like I know him exactly, but so it's been 40 years almost.
Well, there are a lot of people like that in your life.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
The listeners in Lynn's life have enriched it immensely. Yeah.
Indeed. Well, speaking again of the fact that we live in a third world country, oh, fuck you. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd done anything to deserve that, but okay. Here, I'll apologize. I'm sorry.
It's saying I can't go to the... Okay, never mind. This has to do with... the U.S. American maternal mortality rates, women dying as a result of childbirth, has doubled in the last 20 years.
Sure.
Swallow that. We are going down. We, again, quality of life issues. It's just...
look at medical schools can't even train... We can't train OBGYNs in the full range of what women's health care needs to be.
No.
People won't be OBGYNs because they're afraid to be, because they might be locked up, murdered, or something else. So, not to mention that men haven't done research on women, and there weren't women to do research on themselves. So, no. Why shouldn't we be dying at rates that are greater than they were before? They've been doubling down on killing us.
Here's another one. No, it's just, why are we so unwilling to... there was a story in the Atlantic about a guy who lost his glasses and had to replace them. And I can't believe I can't read this either. Okay, never mind. And he couldn't buy a pair of glasses in this country immediately. We have set up, so in other countries, let's say you lose your glasses, you can walk into just about any place and get a pair. And he talked about how to get contact lenses. He took us through the whole, how in America, everything is harder to do, more expensive, and the quality is often not as good.
Listen, it took an act of Congress to allow you to go into a drugstore and get a hearing aid.
There you go. Exactly. So, I mean, guys.
Free enterprise, unfettered free enterprise.
Free enterprise.
Enslaves us all except for 5 billionaires.
Speaking of the billionaires, thank you for that, Susan. Twitter.
It's Twitter versus
well, it's
Meta.
gone. Twitter is destroyed. I've been saying that now for some time since Musk got it. And Paul Krugman, the economist who writes for the New York Times, put this on his Twitter account today because he's saying, I'm out of here. He says, what I'm going to lose when this site totally collapses is the steady stream of information from people I follow, almost all of whom actually know something about a specific subject. And that is what I'm mourning, because that's what Twitter was my major source
reference. Yeah.
It's absolute news. And Krugman is saying the same thing. He said, I could fire it up in the morning and get real-time updates, totally useful and totally, from reliable sources. And Elon Musk has destroyed it. Speaking of Musk, you can't believe. So this guy is one of the most powerful people in the world. He has destroyed so many things. He's also created some things. But we've said this before. Who do you think is more mature, Donald Trump or Elon Musk? Who has greater emotional maturity?
Boy, talking about a race to the bottom. I don't know. I think they're pretty much tied.
Tell me. Yeah. So Elon Musk, who owns Twitter and has destroyed Twitter, he tweeted the other day, and people couldn't believe he tweeted it. He tweeted, this gazillionaire running 3 huge businesses tweeted, Zuck is a cuck.
Well, how clever.
How is that that is 3rd grade playground.
Well, I have to fess up that I had a political enemy once whose last name rhymed with poop. And I did say, if you're having trouble remembering her name, it rhymes with poop.
All right. But Zuck is a cuck, says one of the world's most powerful men. And then he adds to it, I propose, this was 2 days ago, I propose a dick measuring contest.
Oh, that
is Elon Musk.
Well, wait a minute. What are the rules? Is it flaccid or not?
I don't. Oh, Jesus. God.
Well, it was his thought, not mine.
But I just...
Well, Zuckerberg responded, by saying that he'd beat him up, no problem.
I know. Supposedly they're going to do a cage match. I feel for us all. I really do. I feel for us. You don't know where to try to get things fixed a little bit. It's so broken.
Well, yep.
It's so broken. All right. Well, I think we pretty much done.
I think we should put all men on female hormones.
Well,
I think it would solve a world of problems.
Well, I just want to say this. I think there's plenty of horrible women around, too.
Oh, absolutely. Carrie Lake.
Yeah. Carrie Lake. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Lauren Boebert. I mean, we just.
Oh, no. I mean, they're just disgusting. And those are just, glaring examples. There's Melania Trump. I mean, Ivanka Trump. I mean, you could go on. I've got a few personal ones, too.
Well, I think you should bite thy tongue. All right. Well, that's it. I think we're actually a little over time. So there you go, guys. As I've often said, but not enough, if misery loves company, this is the show for you.
Oh, great. Okay. I'm just going to go and stick my head in the toilet. See you later.
No, you're going to go and try to get that box to me with my toothbrush.
Oh, right. Thank you. I forgot again. I'll take care of that right now.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Right,
bye.
Bye. And okay, you guys, if anybody's still there, God help us. God bless you. Try to have a nice day. Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.